This summit provides that environment for that creative exchange to take place. This is a must for us. We have to start thinking together and thinking differently. We are here at this summit to explore the attitudes, the skills, the competencies, and the spiritual wisdom needed in leadership to creatively respond to all the problems that we're facing, and also to manage and direct governments and communities and corporations. We need leadership to emerge from this conference that can even direct the church in a different manner. Businesses to be built on different values and moral convictions. We need leadership emerging from this place that will build new homes where there is strong family ties. Let's consider what we need as we move into this week. We need the spirit of innovative leadership. And I ask you, what is innovative leadership? I want to leave some thoughts with you that I have considered for the past 9 months. I have pondered this, and I want to give you some ideas to think about. First of all, there is a paradox of innovation. And here's the paradox. Number one, everything that God created is still here. Do you agree? In other words, nothing new comes to this planet. That's important to remember when you think of innovation. Number two, there is nothing new under the sun. Do you agree? As I pondered my presentation tonight, I thought about a thought. It's a simple thought, and that is Moses could have flown a jet. Moses could have made a computer. Moses could have flown a helicopter. How do I know this? Because everything to build a jet and fly it was here in Moses' day. Nothing new. Why could not Moses fly a jet? Why could not Joshua build a computer? Not because the material was not present. Because there's nothing new under the sun. Therefore, my third statement must be written down. I advise you to write it down. It'll help you. And that is, everything man made is a combination of old things. Innovation, therefore, has nothing to do with new things. All the Wright brothers did that Moses didn't do was they combined the things that Moses had in different ways. In other words, I am challenging you tonight with the fact that everything we need to change our world and our countries and our businesses and our communities exists in your community now. God is creating no new material. And therefore, my fourth point is that everything necessary to invent the next new thing is already present. When someone tells you they have a new pair of shoes, remind them it's from an old cow. The next time someone tells you they got a brand new suit, remember it's just an old sheep. Nothing new. Innovation is simply the combination of old things in new ways. Therefore, innovation is not found in things around you. They are found between your ears. It's what you think about what you have that makes you innovative. We lack nothing except insight. Point number 5, leadership is the result of the ability to see beyond sight. Some people look at sheep, other people see a coat suit. Some people look at cow, other people see a pair of shoes. Therefore, the key to creativity is not in the things created, but rather in the use of those things by the one who is created in the Creator's image. Dogs have not improved the way they ate for the past 6,000 years. Cows have not found a new way to chew, nor to eat grass. But you and I have changed. We used to eat from banana leaves, and then we progressed to coconut pods, and now we eat from silver plates. We used to use our hands, and then we found some sticks, and now we use silver forks and spoons. We have been able to improve because we have something they don't have. We have our nature from our Creator. Point number 6, everything you need to accomplish your dream on earth is present when? Now. I want you to leave this conference not looking for anything extra. You have come to this place not to find more material, but to find better ways to look at old material. Because that's all innovation is. Steve Jobs, who built the computer, used old pieces of equipment in his garage to put a computer together. And we called it a new Apple computer, but it was old pieces. Because the computer does not exist in the world, it existed in his mind. The solution to our crime problems and our poverty problems and our corruption problems in high places, the solution to our broken homes and our irresponsible children, the solution to AIDS and gang warfare, the solution to even rebuilding our communities after devastation are right between our ears, but we need some external help. And I don't mean from help from other people, because we ain't that smart. I believe that innovation is a matter of sight. Let me put it this way. Eyes that look are common, but eyes that see are rare. Some look at a sheep, others see shoes and clothing. Some look at wheat, but others see a bakery. Every problem in the world is a business. The secret to success is being able to see and not just look. That's why all true leaders strive on vision. Vision is the capacity to see beyond your eyes, because eyes just look, but vision sees. We need visionary leaders who could look at a dilapidated community destroyed by drug-infested drug dealers and to see a community that is different and be able to have the wisdom to navigate through the opposing forces and build a new place. I was downtown Baltimore not too long ago in a beautiful harbor. And I was shocked when my host took me on a tour around the area, and we ate there, and he said, this place used to be a slum. and somebody saw this. It was a beautiful place. Well, why go to Baltimore? There was an island in the Bahamas where I grew up, not too far from the island, right across from my land here. It was called Hog Island. It's where the hogs were. It's where the wild dogs were. It was the garbage dump of our country. We would take dump from the mainland here and dump on that island. It was our garbage dump. It was called Hog Island, Pig Island. Today, Atlantis is on it. How do you move from hogs to Atlantis? Somebody looked at hog and saw Atlantis. You see, innovation is not what's there, it's how you see. Can I suggest to you that sight is just a function of the eyes, but vision is a function of the heart? And this is why without vision, there is no leadership. I recommend that we read a statement that changed my life from the wisest man that ever lived. King Solomon, about 3,000 years ago, wrote this statement in his book of wisdom. He says, the poor man and the rich man have one thing in common. The Lord gave both of them sight to the eyes. In other words, God made people, some become rich, some become poor, depending on how they use their eyes. There is no such thing as a problem to God. All there is in the world is opportunity to use your eyes. Innovation demands that you see differently, and you see in different combinations. I suggest also that innovation has to be understood. Here are a couple of thoughts about it. Number one, innovation is the capacity to create new approaches and concepts to deal with old and new challenges. Innovation is the ability to perceive or to see possibilities in the contribution or the combinations of the old and new. In other words, if you keep looking for new things, you'll miss innovation. Start looking at old things in a new way. The Bahamas has more sand than most countries, but we make no glass. We have more ocean than most countries, but we don't have a striving fisheries industry. If the oil prices keep rising, we're going to go fishing. I was in a country last week speaking on leadership creativity. And I shared some thoughts also on that in our session on Sunday morning here in the Bahamas. And I reminded the people that the true wealth of the world is under the earth. And those who have the innovative ability to go under the earth will always be the wealthiest. Oil is under the earth. Diamonds are under the earth. Resin is under the earth. Bauxite, gold, silver, fish. Innovation is also the creation, the development, and the application of untested ways to solve old and new problems. And I want to stress this to you, my friends, in this summit, that we want to deal with untested ways. An innovative leader will always try things that were never tried before. untested ways create innovative thinking. Innovative leadership is the capacity to think beyond the known, to be able to step out of the boundaries and to believe in your abilities to solve problems. I stress this always, that true leaders are their own raw material. And that means they believe that they have what it takes somewhere on the inside to solve some problems. There is a statement that I want to show you that changed my life when I was a teenager. I found this statement in the Bible. It's an interesting statement. And as we open this week of thinking, I want us to think in terms of this statement. Leadership demands the spirit of innovation. It demands it. You cannot lead unless you have the attitude of innovation, because that is what sets the leader apart from followers. The leader always has to innovate because he doesn't know how to get where he's going the normal way. Leadership is about changing things, not maintaining things. Managers maintain. Leaders innovate. They have to break barrier. They have to destroy tradition. They have to come up against custom. Why? They innovate. They are taking you somewhere you've never been. You cannot be a leader and remain where you are. Leadership, therefore, will disturb tradition. It'll wake up every lazy enemy you had. Leadership will cause people who were nice to you suddenly to turn on you because you are leaving their environment, going to a new place. Leadership demands innovation. Leadership, therefore, demands that people misunderstand you because all they understand is what they understood. If you get my drift. And you're doing something they don't understand. Write this down. Crisis is the incubator for creativity and innovation. Most of the times we don't innovate until we are about to die. The best time to grow is in the midst of crisis, because crisis makes you think outside the box. Let me tell you what crisis is. Crisis is a phenomenon that disturbs your norm. It breaks up all your familiarity. It destroys everything you're used to. And that's why crisis is good for growth. I met a lady from New Orleans the other day. I was speaking in the U.S. last week, and she said, she was introduced to me by one of the leaders I was with, and he told me that she was one of those who lost their houses. And I said, I'm so sorry for you. I'm so sad to hear about this. She said, don't feel sorry for me. I always wanted a new house. Woo! She said, and I had no money to pay for it. Now the government buying me a new house. She said, thank God for Katrina. Now, you got to understand this lady. She probably was weeping during the storm, but now she is dancing after the storm. See, crisis can change your life for the better. When crime is growing, then it's telling you that your police department needs changing. Oh, I gave you a deep one just now. If drugs is increasing, that means your program for drug interdiction ain't working. See, crisis is good. It makes you innovate. I believe that the greatest spawning of new ideas was September 11th. Matter of fact, 2 days after it took place, I started looking for a company that was going to build the machines that you walk through to check you out, because I wanted to buy some shares right away, because I knew this is big business. What you call trouble is big business. Crisis is the way we grow most of the time. Some of you didn't lose weight until the doctor says you're about to die. Come on, talk to me. I mean, you never believe you can stop eating macaroni and cheese until the doctor said, look, your cholesterol is about to kill you. All of a sudden, you hate macaroni and cheese. Crisis can change your life. So don't despair when there are problems. That's the time to start thinking, dreaming. The essence of leadership is innovation because vision demands it. Can I suggest to you that the spirit of innovation is the spirit of true leadership? Because true leaders are always manifested in an innovative attitude. Leaders do not think normal. Secondly, the very nature of leading demands an innovative spirit because leadership takes followers to an undiscovered world of vision. You have to think differently. You have to create new ways. Let me say something to those of you who are disturbed about your leadership and how people treat you. Listen to me. A true leader is always irritating. Because a true leader will always do things you don't understand. And most of the time, they don't either. Clap. That's a good place to clap. They don't know what they do. They know where they want to go, but they're not quite sure how to get there. So they start moving. And sometimes the followers want to know, what are we doing? And the leader said, just trust me. What they mean by that is, I don't know. This is new for me too. Leadership demands that you go to a place you've never been. And therefore, you need to find new ways to get there. Innovation is the creative reserve of true leaders. It's always there. That's why a true leader is never discouraged by failure. Because a true leader sees failure as an opportunity to do it another way. I don't believe in failure. I believe in rearrangements, reorganizing yourself, restructuring your path. What is the mindset of leaders and how it relates to innovation? When we go to space, you know, it's amazing what they do. I watch those documentaries on space because I like to think with those thinkers. They think so differently. When the space shuttle exploded, NASA didn't shut down. Did you notice that? Hello. They didn't say, forget this, it ain't working, lock up shop, sell the property, and go back to Washington. They didn't. Matter of fact, they still sending people. Why? Because every mistake is a classroom. It sends you back to the drawing board. It makes you think again in ways you never thought before. The reason why we fail is because we didn't cover all the bases first. And so it sends us back to rethink our thinking. It causes innovation. Write this down. True leaders learn from their experiences, but they never live in them. My father's here tonight. Hi, Dad. It's my dad over there. Hi, Dad. My father and mother, that's my papa, yeah. Hi, Dad. My father and mother taught us something years ago. I don't believe it anymore, Dad. But they taught us as kids. They said, experience is the best teacher. It sounds good, but it may not be true. Because experience could be the greatest prison. Now, I know what they meant by that, and it makes sense to a degree, because experience will teach you what you shouldn't do. But you see, if you live in your experiences, you'll never move to your possibilities. That's why when you talk to a true leader and you start bringing up the past, he leaves your presence. I'm going to say this again. This is very important. When you're talking to a true leader and you start telling him what you did 10 years ago and how it worked 20 years ago, he's gone. Why? He's afraid of the past. It's a trap. Leaders don't live in history. They make history. Leaders don't repeat history. They produce new history. And so I know you've done some great things in the past and even some bad things, but don't let either of them become your lifestyle, your habitat, because you must live always moving toward a world that you haven't seen yet. Write this down. Leaders also possess the capacity to combine old ideas and concepts in order to create new ones. I had a thought when I saw President Bush running into problems after Rita. I was sitting there with a thought because I realized that the government couldn't handle it. Leadership fell apart. The structure didn't work. What could he do? And then about 2 weeks later, I saw two of my friends on television with him. He was standing in the middle of a church building. And my friend, Larry Stockstill, where he and I worked together at Oral Roberts University, it was in his church that President Bush was standing. And on his right was T.D. Jakes. And on his right was another pastor. And they were getting the job done. And I realized maybe we should stop playing with the idea of church and state and just go all the way and make it a form of government. I'm going to say it again because you didn't get it. In other words, every time the government gets in trouble, they ask the church to help them get the stuff to the people. Well, stop playing with it and just make it a new idea that we'll now govern the country by an integration of church and state. Listen to me. Build a cabinet that combines church leaders and politicians. Build a House of Assembly with one side, church leaders and then discuss the problems together and don't wait till Katrina comes. Clap. You know why you ain't clapping? Because you're living in the past. In America, they don't want the church in government, but they want the church to deliver the packages to the people in Katrina. I'm confused. Everybody say innovation. Let me tell you something. Our constitutions are not smarter than us. We produce them so we could adjust them, change them, or even dump them if they're no longer serving our present needs. I'm not talking about truth. I'm talking about them man-made principles that we came up with to run countries. It's innovative thinking. And we must think that way in this conference. We're not here just to have a little gathering. We are here to get some fresh revelation ideas to take back to our companies and our businesses, our churches, our cities, our communities. I want you to go and meet with your mayor and say, Mayor, I've been to the Bahamas and I got some ideas to solve the crime problem, to solve the drug problem, to solve the promiscuity problem in our young people. Go back with dreams that work. And they do work because here, God does live in the Bahamas. We got to dream beyond our past. Write this down, please. Leaders never believe that there is only one way to accomplish any task. They never believe it. Sometimes I sit in meetings, both presently, locally, and internationally, and I sit around tables with people, and I hear all the problems that people have. And they have all the things that are going wrong. And then I'd be sitting waiting for some fresh ideas to fix it. Or some new ways to approach it. And it is very rare that leaders come up with ideas. They are experts at describing problems. And you know what's amazing? When you report a problem to a leader, 90% of the time, he already knew it. What he was waiting for you to come with was some recommendations, some ideas, some solutions, because leaders want to feed on your creativity, not on your pessimistic attitude. We need leaders who look at things at 20 different ways. I appreciate Bob Harrison today. Did a great job. That session was awesome this morning. Our Commissioner of Police was with us this morning. He's registered for this seminar. A lot of his top brass are part of this seminar. And he sat here this morning taking notes. That's a smart Commissioner of Police. One of our top leaders of our college was here this morning, I understand. Sitting, taking notes. These are smart people. Because leaders always know, if I get in the right environment, I'm going to dream right. I'm going to get people to cultivate my energies of creativity. You see them folks you've been with all your life, they ain't going nowhere. And if you stay with them, you'll be right where they are. You got to stretch yourself with dreamers. Tell your neighbor, I hope you're a dreamer, go sit somewhere else. Tell them right now. When I think of space and I think of the people who travel to space, these are not normal people. The way they think is incredible. No wonder why God lives in the heavens. It's a place where you think. It makes you see things from a different perspective. Write this down. Our ability to motivate is inherent. To innovate, rather, is inherent. You have within you the capacity to be innovative. Because you were made in the image of the most innovative spirit ever existed. And that word image means nature. That means spiritual relationship with the Creator gives us access to resources beyond the natural. There are some things that I have discovered to solve problems that I couldn't think about without interrelationship with the supernatural. Innovation requires that you reconnect with your source. And if you live only to trust your brains, it's called humanism. And humanism is man making himself God, and man ain't that smart. When I think of humanists, I think of people who have an inferiority complex. And they try to impress themselves with their own selves. We're not that smart to run the world. We're not doing a good job at it, are we? Creator's innovative spirit. I made a list of how God thinks innovatively. You want to write this down. Number one, God created everything with diversity. He's so innovative that there are no two plugs in the orange the same, no two leaves on a tree the same. Your two eyes are different. Did you know that? Your two ears are different. He didn't allow any one of us to have the same fingerprint. He is so diverse, so innovative, that nothing in the world is a duplicate. The wings on a bumblebee, they say, the two wings are different. He is so creative. Number two, he never repeated anything he created. He's too innovative. Number three, he never did the same miracle twice. He's too innovative. Number four, he always solved problems in unexpected and untraditional ways. And he wants you, he says, imitate me like dear children. You be just like me. Now, I know it worked last year, but do something different this year. I will never forget when I caught a glimpse of God's innovative spirit. It came upon that man named Samson. Samson was in the desert one time, and 1,000 Philistine soldiers came against him, and he had no weapon. And here he was caught out in the open in the desert. 1,000 soldiers coming to kill him. Samson looked around. Watch it now. Innovation. He realized, well, let's see. All I have and all I see is a jawbone of a donkey in the sand. Everybody say, all I see. Say, all I have. Let me tell you something. Your problems can be solved by something right in your environment. He leaned over, picked up that jawbone, and he got a good grip on it. And then he said to himself, let's go get him. Talking to him in the jawbone. And the story says they came against him and he fought them with that one jawbone, and that white bleached jawbone became soaked red with blood. He was swinging from left and right. And by the time he was finished, it says every single Philistine was dead. And only Samson alone stood in that hot desert sun with sweat and blood dripping down his chest, mingled with power. And he felt the wet jawbone in his hand. And then one of the most important verses I've ever read in the Bible comes next. It simply says, then Samson threw away the jawbone. Now, definitely he's not a Bahamian. I know that. And he's probably not an American either. I know that. And I sure he ain't black. I know that much too. Yeah. And he ain't Mexican either, so don't y'all laugh over there. And he ain't Haitian either, don't you laugh over there. And he ain't Canadian either, don't you get excited, you Canadians. Samson threw away the jawbone. And I was thinking, if I had used a jawbone, it killed 1,000 men. Listen to me, brother. First, I would call Washington Congress Library and say, patent this under my name. I would call him Samsonite. I would then patent it. I would give the design to a manufacturer. We'll reproduce millions of jawbones. We would sell it as military weapons because we got proof it works. It could have been good business. Then we would have taken that, stocked in warehouses, and we would have traded that as a military weapon. Why? It worked. And we would have been able to trade it. We'd been able to trade it. Why? It worked. So we could trade it. Hey, boys, say trade. Say it loud. Trade. We do what? Trade. That's business. This is when you have a good idea that worked for you and you trade it. Hey, boys, say trade. Trade it. Say it loud. Trade. I can't hear you. Say it loud. Trade. Hey, boys, say trade. Trade. Say tradition. Trade. Thank you very much. And there's your problem right there. A tradition is simply something that worked in your time. And you refuse to throw it away. And that's why most of our traditions ain't doing nothing for us, because ain't no Philistines around no more, and the anointing left the bone. Come on, clap your hands and throw it away. Just throw it away. There are some things that you are holding on to that your great-grandmama used to do, or the former pastor used to do, or the last CEO used to do, or the last prime minister used to do. It doesn't work anymore. Innovation demands the internal fortitude to throw away something that worked. And that takes a lot of strength because it worked. I challenge you, therefore, to be the kind of leaders we want. Leaders challenge humanity to think beyond their current experiences. Leaders, just like God, God never believed anything was impossible. And he said, be like me. God, he never dealt with humanity according to their norms and their expectations. He always violated their expectations because he was innovative. I think there's no one more innovative than Jesus Christ. Do you agree? Well, you may not think so, but I'm telling you, he's one of the greatest examples of innovation I have ever seen. As a matter of fact, he never repeated any single method of anything he ever did. He was too innovative. I give you this much. How do you make wine? Can anyone tell me? Well, you got to go to a grapevine, pick the grapes, you got to crush them, put them in a barrel, keep them for 30 years, and you got wine. He said, no, I got a new way to make wine. Bring me some water. Now dip in it. Finish. Give him a hand. Innovation. How about this? How do you heal the blind? Well, I know how to heal the blind. Well, he said, no, you don't know. He says, one time, I want you to just let me touch you. The next time, he says, let me put some mud mixed with spit. He said, next time, go wash in one river. Innovation. Let me tell you something. They ain't supposed to never figure you out. I'm going to say it again. See, the reason why they keep beating you, they keep figuring you out. They are never supposed to figure out what you're going to do next with your store. How are you going to sell shoes next year? You're going to use a different method. How are you going to expand your insurance business? You're going to use a different method. You see, even some of the training programs we have to train salesmen need to be reinvented. Because things have completely changed. Some of the principles you learn and the programs you learn ain't no good no more because technology messing up everything. He never did anything. How about this one? How do you feed a banquet of people? Well, I'll tell you how. You go to the food store, you have a lot of money, and you buy a lot of chicken, a lot of fish, a lot of bread, a lot of rice, and then you got to get 1,000 people to cook, and then they got to take time to clean up everything and prepare everything. They got to make all this stuff. Or you can just use a kid's lunch. How do you really have a banquet? We all know how, but he doesn't follow our norm. How about this one? How do you raise the dead? It depends on how you feel that day. One day, you touch a casket. The next day, you simply say, get up. The next day, you say, come forth. The next day, you lift yourself up. Come on, give him a hand. How do you raise the dead? I don't know. How do you cross a river? Uh-oh, there's a big one. Well, we know how to do it. We can swim. We can use a boat. How about walking on it? I mean, he's just mind-blowing. He was trying to show us, stop thinking in one dimension. I'm learning how to dream with him. How about this question? How do you catch fish? Well, we know how to catch fish. You get a rod, get some bait, get some hooks, and you wait around until Jesus comes. Or you can sit in the boat and talk to them and tell them, get in the net. How about this one? How do you pay taxes? Now, we know how to pay taxes. You get 10% of your money or whatever it is, and you pay your taxes. If you're in California, it's 40%. Well, no, you can pay taxes by catching a fish. Innovative, unpredictable. Is there one way to pay your house off? Monthly payment every month? You got to find another way because that's going to kill you. You're not going to kill you. Am I talking about it? I mean, the stress you under just trying to make that. Listen, there got to be, and listen, this conference is going to show you revelations you never knew. You're going to pay your mortgage off in record time. I guarantee it. After this conference, clap if you believe that. There are ways that you never dreamt of. Innovation. How about this one? How do you cut a tree down? Well, you can sweat with an axe and chop it, or you can just say, die. Innovative. We never thought you could kill a tree by talking. Matter of fact, when his disciples saw it, they went into shock. They said, it hurt you. We don't kill trees like that. We chop them down. We sweat. We labor. I wonder how many things you are sweating over that you could do much easier if you can just get innovative in your thinking. How about this one? How do you destroy sin? Well, you can go to hell and choke the devil. Or you can do something that doesn't make any sense. You can die on a cross. And when he thought he won, he lost. In other words, let your enemy kill you. What kind of innovation is that? How do you destroy death? Easy. Let it kill you. And then come back. Clap, man. Y'all understand? His mind is incredible. He never thought the way we thought. And he's saying, be imitators of me. The business that you're running now is not running at top potential. Guaranteed. You need to just get in another zone. The money you made last year will not be compared to your revenue next year, because you're going to dream outside of your limitations through this conference. You're going to walk out of here and say, I could do better than this, and you will do better than this, because you have the mind of Christ. Let me leave you with some interesting concepts to think about. His leadership style shows us that true leadership demands that we always consider new ways to solve old problems. He never dealt with old problems in old ways. I am convinced that to become this leader that we want you to become in your lifetime before you die is going to demand that you ignite the dormant power of creativity within you. As a matter of fact, do not be afraid to rise above mediocrity. I challenge you in this conference to harness creativity and explore the uncharted world of your imagination, your dreams. I challenge you to go beyond the earth and explore things that only God has in his mind. Because I believe you must think beyond the box. Do not be afraid to rise above mediocrity. Harness the creativity. Use it to dream new dreams. I am convinced that leadership takes time to think. When I heard Bob today in his session, was that good this morning? This afternoon? That was awesome. He said, you need to get away and work hard at doing nothing and just thinking, because thinking is hard work, and innovation requires quietness. My greatest accomplishment takes place when I'm doing nothing. It's when no one's around me. Venture into the uncomfortable zone. Innovate. Try things you've never done before. Ephesians, here's the verse I wanted to give you. It's a powerful verse. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. Now unto him who is able to do what? Exceeding what? Abundantly what? Above all you can what? Ask or imagine? That's in the Bible. I was told by religion, don't use your imagination, it's demonic. And yet, God admonishes you as his son that you must use your imagination. He wants you to see things that no one else can see and take a tour of your future in detail. He wants you to see a city, a community, a country, a world, a department, a business in a way that you alone can see. And then he says he will do above that. And then he makes this statement, according to the power that works where? In us. He said, when you use that power, you give me glory. In other words, innovation is not outside of you. It's within you. He gave you his spirit, his nature, and he says you're not using it. And he says the reason why he can't do much because he has no one to think much. I'll never forget when I heard a voice one time. It simply said, you're not thinking big enough. And then it spoke to me in a simple way. He says, don't ask me to do that. That doesn't make me look like God. Dream about something that makes me look like God. Innovation. 10 attitudes to remember. Write them down. Number 1, leadership believes nothing is impossible. Number 2, leaders believe there is no one way to solve a problem. Number 3, leaders find new ways to solve all problems. Number 4, leaders never surrender to limitations. They never surrender. Don't ever tell a leader it can't be done. Number 5, leaders are not afraid to fail. And by the way, if you are going to be an innovative leader, you have to get this settled right now. You will never do anything great unless you are willing to fail. I am not afraid of failure. I'm telling you, I'm not afraid of failure. People who are afraid of failure never accomplish success. Number 6, very important, leaders are willing to try anything once. I remember I had to eat dog one time. I tried it once. Once is enough. I ate a raw goat's eye because I was a special guest at a meal. I had to eat it among some Bedouin Arabs. That was it. I never went to visit them again. Try everything. When? How? Once. Once. Don't be afraid. People who don't venture never have an adventure. There are boring people in the world. You're sitting behind one. Always eating cheeseburger. I mean, in the Bahamas. Cheeseburger? In the Bahamas? People go to Europe and order French fries and hamburgers. I don't understand this. He who doesn't venture never has an adventure. And God is a God of adventure. He told Abraham, I'll take you to a place you do not know. Abraham said, where? He said, I'll tell you when you get there. Is that an adventure? Eat this. What is it? Just eat it. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you when you swallow. Number 7, write this down. Leaders challenge their own success. Let me say something about true leaders. They get bored very quickly. That's why they can't settle in tradition too well. Because they're always pursuing something more than their last success. They challenge it. Even though something is working, they break it so they can fix it. That's innovation. Innovative thinkers are always dissatisfied even with their successes. I challenge you to not worship at the shrine of your last success. Because you'll never grow where you've already been. I am convinced that the greatest enemy of your progress is your last success. So don't let it stop you. Number 8, leaders think of things that never was, and they attempt them. Number 9, leaders challenge convention and tradition. Why are we doing this? Oh, really? But why don't we change it? Oh, so why not get rid of them then? You missed that, okay. Why are we doing this? Oh, but then why don't we change it? Oh, then get rid of them. Let me say it one more time. Why are we doing this? Why don't we change it? Then get rid of them. Do you know what boards are? Pieces of wood. Heavy wood. Planks. Sometimes the heaviest thing in life is a board. Y'all are slow. Clap. Give me a little bit of break here. I'm going to quit in a minute. You know, that's why it's important to lighten up your board a little bit with some young people who are crazy. So they can challenge you too. Tell you it ain't working. That's why Christ got fresh people not from tradition and from religion. He got these guys who knew nothing about nothing, so they could believe everything he says. Some of the greatest enemies of innovative thinkers are people around them who won't allow them to think. And that's why you should choose your friends based on your destiny. Very important. And number 10, leaders engage the unknown with faith and courage. You got to be courageous to be innovative, because you got to step out. No one's never done this before. This week we are in an incubator. And over 1,000 people will be here tomorrow morning. And we're going to sit here and listen to some awesome facilitators who are going to create an environment for you to break out those traditions. I challenge you to make this your week of transition. I plan to dream bigger next year, starting this week. I come here for me to learn. I am going to be submitted to these facilitators. I came to eat and to drink creativity. I came to give myself to the untested, to the unexplored. I want to do things differently. How about you? I say, how about you? I want to close on a verse of scripture and a story that Jesus did here. He was in a park one day, and when I went to Israel, I went to this area they say it took place, a beautiful area on the mountainside, and there were over 5,000 people sitting on the grass, and they had followed him out there, and they were with him for 3 days. They ran out of food, and he said to his disciples, he says, they don't need to go home. You give them something to eat. Now follow me, please. Just hold the music for a second. I don't want you to miss this story because it changed my innovative life. He said, you give them something to eat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about this. There are about 5,000 plus men and women and children. So we're talking about maybe 12,000. His staff is with him. That's his board. They see the people. They said, send them away. That's what they said. His response was, they don't need to go away. Next statement. Read it with me out loud. You feed them. That's important. You feed them. In other words, the very guys who said, send them away. The reason why they said, send them away is because they already concluded In their mind, they had already settled it. There's no way. Everybody say no way. See, a true leader doesn't believe there's no way. But they had already concluded there's no way to feed 10, 12,000 people. So, solution, normal solution, send them back to the village. 3 days walk, they'd starve. He turns to the very guys who said send them away, and he said, you. Y'all getting this? I'm going, He said, you feed them. He talked to the guys who concluded there's no way. He was challenging something deep on the inside. He was saying, your conclusions are premature. Leaders, when a leader is quiet and you are talking, he don't believe you. I'm going to say this again. This is very, see, you understand what I'm talking about? See, when you're talking to a leader and you come with all this, why it can't be done? He doesn't say anything. Why? He don't believe you. You've come to conclusions too quickly. You are not innovative. You're not creative. You've already said it can't happen. The worst word that comes to my ear, I tell you, it gets me angry, is can't. If I respond to can't the way I feel, I would have been a murderer many times. I feel like killing the person. Don't tell me there's no such thing. At least be honest and say, I haven't figured out a way to do it. Just tell me that. Don't say it can't be done. Or just say, I ain't smart enough to do it. At least that's nicer, then I can get rid of you. But, he said, look, you feed them. In other words, he was challenging their conclusion. It can't be done. He said, you feed them. But it can't be done. You feed them. Think beyond your conclusion. I am going to lose my house. God said, no, don't say that. Think. My business is going to shut down. I'm going to go bankrupt. He said, no, that's the conclusion. Think beyond it. Pause. Go get quiet. Go in the bush. Go on the beach and think. Listen to your heart. I can't afford this property. Think. We can never fix the declining economic condition. Think. I hope our government is thinking, Mr. Pete. Because when Castro died, heaven help you and me. No, you, not me. I straight. Because when that movement started flying over us, you better be creative. Think. Everybody say think. He said, you feed them. Look at their response. We have only. I'll leave it in a minute. What do we have? We only have. That sounds like a Bahamian. All I have, child. That's all I got. Leaders never believe that. All I have is what? 5 loaves of bread, 2 fishes. And in one translation it says, and he said to them, that's enough. That's enough. Bring it to me. Bring it to me. In other words, you guys ain't innovative. Bring it to me. Bring what you say is the only thing you have. I'm going to show you that ain't the only thing you have. Bring it to me. An innovative leader can turn a car into a restaurant, a mobile restaurant. Here you are about to lose your car because you can't make your last payment on your car. And you are not thinking correctly. You need to cook a big pot of rice, put in the back of that car, Drive it to a construction site and say, y'all want to buy some lunch and get your car payment. Use the very car to pay for the car. Think. Bring it to me. The next statement. And he did what? Directed them to sit the people. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but if I was those guys, I wouldn't be too comfortable with this. He tells them an instruction which creates an expectation that something is about to happen that they never imagined. That's what leaders do. They tell you to do things that makes you think he's thinking about something else. And he solves the problem. I made a little list of the items in this experience. Number one, initiate the solution. He said, let's feed them. Leaders initiate the solution. Okay, 1,000 people lost their homes through the hurricane. Good. Okay, let's stop a minute now. Everybody sit up. Don't panic. Hold it a minute. Okay, let's house them. Okay. We're going to make sure they get covered from the elements. Be cool. Everything going to be all right. Initiate a solution. You're not sure how. Next step. Place demand on the potential of people. He said, you feed them. He is drawing on something they don't know they have. The people around you with the problem get the solution. But we need leaders that will make demands on the hidden potential in the people around them who seem to have the problem. It takes innovative thinking. And number three, test the creativity of your team. Listen to me. If you got a problem, call the group together and say, okay, come back in 3 days with an answer. Now, you might know the answer, but they need to learn to think. Hey, boy, say think. Send them back with the problem. He said to them, you feed them. You figure out a way to feed them. You. I already know how to do it, but I want you to think about it. Test the potential of people. And number 4, very important, I love it. Believe in the ability to solve the problem. He said, sit down. He believes in his ability to fix this. Do you believe? Number 5, look at what you have. Study what you have. Very important. They only saw 5 loaves and 2 fish. They never studied it. Let me tell you what I mean by study. When I went to university, we did a class in physics, which I hated. And when we got into the dynamics of atomic energy, I got excited. And you know, in physics, they teach you that everything in this room, including your clothing, your hair, the flowers, everything in the plants, everything here is made of the little thing called the atom. The atoms, they kind of hold things together. Eh? And what they discovered is that if you can split one atom, that atom has a chain reaction and it splits another atom. And then it hits the other atom, it splits the other atom. And once you split one atom, it begins to split all the atoms around it, and then it begins to multiply. And that is what makes an atomic bomb so dangerous. Because once you split the atom of explosive energy, the energy multiplies, and that's what kills people. And so they had some bread. All they saw was bread. He saw atoms. I'm close. I want you to, he's thinking. He said, look, what do you have? They says, all we have. Oh, that's not true. Let me put it this way. You never have all you have. All you have is all you see. Some of you are getting it. You always have more than you have. What you normally tell people is what you see. So what you have is not what you see. They saw a roll, a bread. He saw that they had atoms. He's the first man in history to split an atom. He split the atom and the bread started multiplying. He split the fish atom and the fish. And so he just said, catch it and give it off. See the potential of your resources. Stop looking at your resources and see the potential of it. Hog Island, we looked at it for years. It took a foreigner to see what was in it. And it breaks my heart because now we got to work for him. And it used to be our Hog Island. But now we are slaves of the owner of the Hog Island. And we got to live and do what he says because we couldn't see the resources that was in our own resource. Do we really have leaders? If I was prime minister, oh, what a country this would be. Stop thinking. Stop. But I look at our country, the wealth that we have. Just need someone to see. Last two. See beyond the norm. They saw normal things. Fish and bread. He saw a banquet. And number 9, understand the true nature of your resources. Innovation is looking at a sheep and seeing a coat. Looking at a cow and seeing a shoe. And finally, act on what you see. He had them sit down before he even started. He said, look, I'm going to do something that you've never seen before. You have more than you see. Say it. I have more than I see. Say it again. I have more than I see. An innovative spirit always sees more. Just stand up on your feet. Tell your neighbor, if you knew how rich I was going to become, you would be nice to me right now. Look this way, please. Anybody learn anything tonight? I would like for you to do something very special. And that is to hold hands with your neighbor on your right and left. As we leave this place tonight, I send you out of here to dream. May your pillow become like a ladder that you climb to the heavens. May you see things that only God sees. May your old problems look new. May the things that seem impossible suddenly look easy because you changed, not because it changed. I'm not finished this teaching. Someday I'll finish it. But suffice it to say that innovation is the only way we're going to make it in life. How do you cross a body of water? You use a piece of wood and it opens. How do you defeat an entire city? Well, you can call the military or you can just sing and walk around it 7 times. Innovation. How do you get an axe that fell into a water ditch? You can go dive for it or ask it to float. Innovation. How do you kill a giant? Well, everybody puts on an armor. They use spear and sword. Or you could take off all the armor and use just a piece of leather and some string. Innovation. I've never seen a giant killed with a sling, they said. And David says, innovation. See, when you use innovation, your enemy is not prepared for it. All Goliath knew was sword, spear, and shield. He never counted on a sling. He wasn't trained for innovation. May you leave here and blow your enemy's mind. How do you become prime minister? Well, you could fight, bicker, scheme, or you could just go to God and say, show me. Because you see, how do you become a prime minister? Well, first, you can go into a pit. That's innovative. And then get sold into slavery. That's innovative on your way to prime ministership. And then be lied on and been put in jail. God is so innovative that where he got you right now is a setup. Oh, come on, just lift your hands and scream for 5 seconds. It's a setup. And he's telling you, don't rush it. Stay right there. Don't leave the pit. Why? I got a caravan on the way to Egypt coming to pick you up. Don't leave. Innovation. Think outside the box. It's when you go back, it ain't church as normal. It ain't business as normal. It ain't government as normal. You got to stop thinking tradition. Because the spirit of innovation is here this week. Let's hold hands together. Repeat after me. Heavenly Father, thank you for what I feel right now. I want to cultivate this feeling. Nothing is impossible for me. I am not limited except by my imagination. No man can think for me anymore. I am who you say I am. I can do what you say I can do. I can go as far as you say I can go. And you said, if I believe it, nothing is impossible. So I'm breaking out of this place. I'm breaking out of my boundaries, breaking out of my fears, breaking out of my inhibitions. This is the beginning of limitless thinking. I am just like my Father. Nothing is impossible to me. I am an innovator. I am an innovator. I am an innovator. I am an innovator. And I say to my enemies, get ready for me. You ain't seen nothing yet. In Jesus' name. Lift your hands and scream to him. He's the Lord. Praise God.